Susie vs. Angelica is the second segment of the 25th episode of the second season of Rugrats, and I'm really pleased we're getting quite a bit of Susie towards the end of this season, as I remember really liking Susie when I was younger, but I can't really remember that many episodes that focus on her, so I did worry that maybe she didn't actually feature that frequently, but thankfully what we're getting is pretty good, and this episode is, as you can imagine, Susie and Angelica are competing, because they both think that they're the best. And they go through various different events. Some are very short, for example, they play Chutes and Ladders, they have a pudding eating competition, but the main part of the narrative focuses on a race, where Angelica's riding in this fire truck and Susie is on a tricycle, but who is going to win the race and be crowned the bestest, to quote the babies. That part of the narrative I thought was very well developed. I liked the fact that they had a lot of small competitive activities before the main event kicked in. It just helped to keep the pace going and make it a little bit interesting, and also helped to bring together the message at the end. But I'll discuss that and also what happened with the race, with a spoiler warning, in a bit. I loved so many little things in this. I don't remember this episode from my childhood, but obviously there's a lot of nostalgia with it, regardless of that. So a few small things that I liked, or that were thought-provoking before I get into the spoilers. Tommy was drinking juice, which is quite interesting. Normally he's drinking milk. I loved it when Lil said, "Use your words," which, in their defense, they were using their words. They were just using their words to shout at each other, that being Susie and Angelica. It did make me... Just after seeing Tommy drinking juice, Susie said, "Come on, my dad will make us," I think it was peanut butter and marshmallow sandwiches, which sound amazing, but Tommy hasn't been weaned off of his food yet. He's off of his bottle yet, so I'm not entirely sure he would be able to eat peanut butter and marshmallow sandwiches. And it's now made me wonder, are there other times when the babies are snacking on foods when Tommy hasn't even transferred to a sippy cup yet? So I'm going to have to look out for that one, but it made me raise an eyebrow. But I love the fact that in this episode, the babies are the voice of reason, constantly saying, it doesn't matter who's the bestest, who cares, you don't need to compete, but Susie and Angelica are determined to fight it out until the end. And the main narrative sees Angelica dishing out these various roles for the babies. Tommy's waving the flag, Phil and Lil are the spit crew, which, you know, puts them in their element as they are literally spitting. And Chuckie, Chuckie and his peanut is one of the cutest things I've ever seen. And I'm glad they kept coming back to that. It really made me smile. It was absolutely adorable. And the way the race played out, I thought was pretty good. So, spoilers from now. I'm just going to discuss, well, what happened with the race, a particular sound effect that I loved, and what happened at the very end. So spoilers from now. The sound of the crash was horrendous, but in a good way. It was so powerful, and I could feel the pain that Angelica would have felt. It was really effective and very well done, but I love the fact that Susie immediately rushed over to Angelica to ask her how she was doing, which I thought was a really lovely thing to do. And the fact that, to quote, "everybody's the bestest sometimes," is the biggest takeaway from this. Nobody can be the best at everything. Everybody's good at their own thing. And there's no point in trying to compete because we're all good at different things. I did think this is a change of pace for Angelica and Susie. Will it impact how they get on in future episodes? And then right at the last second, they're fighting again about their hair this time. Which I thought was a really nice way of ending it, because it showed that actually their relationship hasn't actually changed and they will still be at each other's throats going forward. I thought it was a pretty smart decision. Really well-developed narrative, great pacing, great structure. Loved the roles of all of the characters. Chuckie and his peanut will always be one of the cutest things ever. Susie and Angelica may not be one I remembered from my childhood, but I definitely enjoyed it.